Had a good session last week, but we missed you. So nice to see you back.
Thank you.
Nice.
It is. I'm happy to be back, and
Hmm.
today is going to be a great day. I have a million things to do,
Hmm.
but this call is very important to me. I love seeing where our colleagues are at with their business. So I would like to ask everybody who's here already to just jam in and just say where you're logging in from, and maybe make a comment as to how your week has been going. That'd be great.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. And also, let's make sure, I mean, we don't spend a ton of time on this, but as we get, more and more people joining these calls, and we're getting a ton of people on the replay too, which is interesting. So, you
Sure.
know, um, I think the interesting part for me too is always, don't forget, guys, we're here to help you. So Simeon can answer pretty much any question. So if you have any issues, throw that into the chat as well. Today we
Listen, not everybody can be available on a Monday morning. Monday mornings are very busy for many people. I like to use them as a reset and in kind
Yeah.
of a motivational start point, which
Hmm.
is why we have them on Monday morning. So whoever can make it, that's fantastic. If you're
Hmm.
already up and working, look at the replay when you get back home, back to the office, and just align yourself. The whole point of this call is to align yourself, get some nuggets, and be able to put them to work for you for this week.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, let's jump in then because I think, today's topic is so interesting that we're probably going to need the full half hour or so. We talked last week about listings, but the week before that, we were still on our growth levers, specifically talking about warm outreach. And today, we want to go back to referrals, but we want to go to the other kind of referrals. So for now, we'll call those our cross-market referrals. So, this is obviously when we're talking about things like relocation, different countries, maybe it's snowbirds, often it's just agent to agent. So I know that, Simeon, you've had a load of experience on this. And before we jump into that, I wanted to just make sure that everybody knew what some of our resources are to help them this week.
For
Um,
sure.
the first is we created a fairly simple but a really good start for getting rolling. If you're not already doing cross-market referrals, a tactical growth guide. So how to basically the first steps you need to take to start adding this to your business. We have a couple of other awesome promos. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about those because they're going to be in the resource material. They'll be in the follow-up emails and all that good stuff. But for sure, check out the Tactical Growth Guide. That'll at least get everybody rolling.
For
But
sure.
if it's cool with you, let's just jump into, I would ask you, first of all, why you think this sort of cross-market referral opportunity is a big deal. And I know you've used it quite a bit in your business in the past. So let
Well,
me,
cross market referrals is a significant part of our business. So much
yeah,
so, I'm talking anywhere between, like across the entire team, I would say 40 to 80 deals a year are referrals from other agents,
right,
not referrals from clients, referrals from other agents.
right.
And I've seen countless of my brothers and sisters build very meaningful businesses by becoming a local area expert to bigger markets, to bigger urban markets. I'll
Yeah.
give you an example from my local market. Again, I'm in the Greater Toronto area with a population of almost 7 million people in the Golden Horseshoe. The Golden Horseshoe feeds other markets, whether that be the Kawarthas, the Muskokas, whether it's the Finger Lakes in New York, whether it's Pennsylvania, like upstate Pennsylvania, where a lot of Canadians vacation, where a lot of Canadians buy their secondary cottages, their income properties. Like these are big, big markets. Think of
Hmm.
Florida.
Oh my God.
They're
Arizona, the
like
Carolinas. Yeah.
Arizona. So Arizona is the feeding ground of Alberta and British Columbia. That's just snowbirds. That's
Yeah.
just one market.
Yeah.
Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. Think of South Carolina's Hilton Head. Think of Charleston. Think of all of Florida. Canadians are snowbirds there.
Yeah.
And 15 years ago, when the dollar was at par, there was literally thousands of transactions per year of
Hmm.
Canadians buying US real estate.
Yep.
You, as a US realtor, as a Florida realtor, as an Arizona realtor, how do you market yourself to your brothers and sisters up north to be able to send you their clients? Their trusted treasure is
Hmm.
going out of town. Well, If I want for my client to work with the same type of agent like myself, somebody with integrity, somebody with professionalism, somebody who's going to take care of them, I want to be a part of that. And when you make those connections, it never ends. When you provide that service that the realtor, the referring realtor can trust and know that it's solid and it's there, you
Yeah.
become something different. You become a resource to the industry, not just to the client. Because when I get a phone call from Sabina to tell me that, hey, Simeon, I'm looking to, you know, spend 3 to 4 months out of the year down south. I can no longer take the New York winter. I
Mhm.
love it here during the summer, but during the winter, I simply cannot bear it no more. I don't want to shovel. My husband doesn't want to shovel. I just don't want it. Well, that's a big conversation. Where do you want to go?
Mhm.
Do you want to go to the Dominican? Do you want to go to Mexico? Do you want to go to Florida? Right now, there's another huge opportunity. That opportunity is geopolitics and tariffs, and all the noise in the marketplace has ruffled a lot of feathers. Right now, Canadians, not only are they upset with what's happened with the US and the trade war, whether that's resolved in a few months or not, it probably will be, but it still has created a massive opportunity for our brothers and sisters in these hotspots. And the reason is not just because they're mad at Trump or the trade war or whatever the case may be. It's because the dollar, the US dollar, is worth almost $1.50 Canadian. The Canadian dollar has been decimated. So they have an incentive to sell on top of whatever may have triggered the ruffling of the feathers. So, what can our US brothers and sisters do to attract that Canadian client to sell and reinvest and do whatever the case may be?
Mhm.
This is where this conversation has significant value. This is where we as realtors do not look at the minutia of the noise, but look at the opportunity that's there to be had. And that's what smart business people do. They do not align themselves with politics that change overnight. Because what's bad today can be great tomorrow. A new person comes in, changes everything again. Do we have control of who gets elected and what they do? The answer is no. But we
Mhm.
do have a choice on how we take a look at the opportunities in hand and leverage them to our business. If there was a Florida realtor right now watching, I can tell you that I have at least 2 dozen clients that I have personally put into Florida properties. I can tell you that at least eight have already put up their hand and called me to put them in touch with a Florida realtor. What would 8 transactions do for you?
Yeah.
It would literally change the destiny and trajectory of your next quarter, maybe your entire year. That's where this all comes in. I get at least 3, 4 emails a month from agents looking to make themselves local area experts around my market. Think Niagara Falls, Ontario. Think Niagara Falls, New York. The town is split. There's
Mhm.
Buffalo on one side, Niagara Falls on this side. But at the end of the day, where that waterfall is dropping, that market is one and the same for all of us.
Yeah.
There is no difference between the US and Canada. Crossing an imaginary line doesn't make the people or anything else different. But that market is 120 kilometers from Toronto. The nuances on the Canadian side are different than the ones on the US. So when I get an email from a realtor in Niagara, I pay attention because I'm not driving 100 kilometers to do a transaction in a place that I don't know inside out. I'm a professional. I'm going to refer that to somebody I know and I trust knows Niagara like the back of their hand, whether it's on this side of the border or the other. And when this person hits my inbox consistently, when this person is on socials and consistently is speaking to the value they can bring to my business, the chances of that omnipresence catching on and me considering them as a resource for my clients increases. So when you, Sabina, tell me, the growth levers and warm outreach and how do we develop different verticals? This is how we develop different verticals. Because every time the gentleman in Niagara Falls has emailed me to tell me about my business, I reply back and say, remember, if you're ever have a client looking to come to Toronto, whether it's their kids for university, whether it's, a senior, a parent looking for health reasons, to be in a hospital, to be in a retirement home, to be in whatever the case may be, remember me, vice versa, reciprocity.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is how you develop and evolve this vertical.
I
Tell
think,
me Florida. Tell me Arizona. Tell me you are the king of Cancun, the queen of Mazatlan. Because Mexico is a huge hotspot for all of the North American North. Where do people from Washington buy? Where do people from Oregon buy? They go to Mazatlan because it's a 3-hour flight south. Cost of living is about a third. Puerto Vallarta. There's huge markets, huge opportunity. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to interrupt you because I think that's also incredibly valuable. The other thing people don't realize is, I think, or maybe a lot of agents don't realize, is that a lot of Americans buy in Canada as well for lots of different reasons. Like there's huge communities for instance, you were talking about Muskoka. There has been for decades and decades and decades, there have been Americans buying up north. There's also been the East Coast, and let's face it, part of it is just because of the dollar, because more often than not, the American dollar has been stronger than the Canadian. So if you have 30 to 40 to 50% buying power, that makes a big difference. And
so
in
now we're
many
seeing
cases,
an influx of investment real estate being acquired by the US.
right.
Canada, although has a residential foreign buyers ban to protect the housing stock, commercial properties are not part of that.
Right.
And Americans having a 50% advantage. I mean, that's so significant where to my US brothers and sisters, if you're not guiding your clients to buy investment in commercial property in Canada, you're missing more opportunity. And this is where, again, referral, can I be referred to? Of course, I'm an agent and I have a massive company with a massive team that I can support you. But this goes back and forth. And when you're looking for ideas on how to grow your business, if you have investors in your network, having them explore Canadian opportunity at $1.50 at 50% off is an incredible opportunity for you. And this is how you develop friendships, business relationships, and strategic partners for life.
Yeah, 100%. And we say all this because obviously for us, we've been doing 30 years of this where we know over time there has been this migration down and then up and then down and then up. And then now it's going over here and it's the islands. And I mean, you name it. So I think I cannot, cannot emphasize enough that this could be multiple transactions over the lifetime of a client because they're going to be changing positions potentially too. Like I know a ton of people that are buying in other countries right now. That's new. And a lot of agents may not know how to handle that. So maybe we should talk a little bit about sort of the tactical side of this. Like, you talked a bit about why this matters. And I think that's ultimately extremely clear. And, I'll mention to everybody too that when we talked about this last time, one of the things we were talking about is this idea that you can build yourself to a business that is primarily referral based over a fairly short period of time. And this is one of the levers you need to pull for sure. Business to business
100%.
is critical. Yeah. So this is not one of those things that we are throwing at you as sort of like a soft ball. This is a hard ball. This needs to be part of your business because I don't care
This is
where you
very
are.
significant.
Yeah.
And I think Sabina, what we can also put in here, also business to business from our real estate brothers and sisters, but also local businesses, not local businesses, where
Yeah.
depending on your background, let's say before you got into real estate, you were in, I don't know, steel manufacturing. It doesn't matter. Do your steel manufacturing contacts know you're now in real estate? Does the plant that you used to work at or does the plant in the other province or the other state or wherever you guys used to do business, have you thought of all the people that you know, of all the experiences you've had as a human being? Forget real estate. If people know, if people understand what you do and what value you bring to the table, do they know that you do that so they can take advantage and refer you that business into your trusted hands because you'll serve them better?
Right.
That relationship is worth the same. It's a matter of
Yep.
fine-tuning a message that you put out that makes me, as a referring agent, trust that my client will be taken care of. So think outside the box, not just B2B from me to you, but what have you done in your life? Who have you reached out to let them know that you are the best at what you do? That you will take care of the people that are referred to you. And then, of course, deliver on that message.
For sure, of course. And, and it's just like everything else. Look at where are you based and what are the trends in your area at any given moment. So is it, are you in an area where there's a lot of corporate relocation, for instance? That's different than Snowbirds, obviously. So you need to learn that niche, perhaps. Or maybe it's a healthcare relocation. I know parts of the country where there are doctors and nurses that are constantly moving around that need relocation support. And let's face it, and sometimes that's buying a property. Sometimes those are long-term rentals, which are also can be very lucrative. So there's lots of different things you can look at. You have vacation homes, retirement properties, which we've already talked about. But, we haven't even mentioned the whole military element. That's a massive one.
It is massive. Like the military relocation of the United States is a massive market.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I would say, 30x than the Canadian military relocation system. But
Yeah.
I can tell you, maybe I'll bring a guest next week, even for 5 minutes. We have one of the chairmen in my organization, chairman level production. That means top 1 percentile. So there's nobody in that group that does under 2 mil in GCI a year. Or at least a couple hundred transactions a year, depending on the market. And she, Megan, does something like she lives by the base. There's a base, this is, I believe, in Cold Lake, Alberta, if I'm not mistaken, just north of Edmonton. And this is where the big airplane bases are. This is in the prairies, and they do military exercise with the US all the time. So they fly out to the Pacific, etc. But if I'm not mistaken, she does 200 to 300 deals a year. Directly the same home. She sold the same homes 30 times. Generals, captains, corporate, like all the officers of the military straight away buy homes. I don't know if there's government incentives. I don't know how that world works, but this woman has made a beautiful living off this exact vertical.
Yeah.
Being known for serving Canada's military with integrity, speed, and care. Imagine that is your reputation. Say no more.
No,
Say
100%.
no more.
100%. I mean, obviously, there's plenty of agents who do nothing but this type of business, and others that it's a part of their business. So we're saying to everybody, first figure out where you live and what's available to you there, and then you can decide how deep you want to go and how quickly you can become successful in this.
All this is part and parcel. I'm not
Yeah.
asking or telling anyone that this is your business. A well-rounded business has different growth levers. Remember that we're in a part of the growth levers. As a residential agent, whether you're as a commercial agent, if you rely on only one thing, you are going to hit a point in your career where something takes it down. Just like it can go up to the stars, it can come down to the pits. Why? Because that's how the world works.
And you're
The
not
more
diversified.
diversified we are, sorry.
Exactly. No, we literally said the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
So go ahead, please.
We have to be diversified. I'm
Yeah.
not talking to be like a jack of all trades. I'm talking about stick to what you know as a commercial agent or as a residential agent, but having different lead sources, expanding your network is how you're going to have stability and security in your business.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if you're a residential agent, become a commercial agent. I'm saying that you should have commercial agent partners that refer back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you should exploit all your life's experience.
Mhm.
I came from the restaurant business. I was born in the restaurant business. But when I went to university and I came out of university, do I want to be stuck in a kitchen for the rest of my life? The answer is no. I still love restaurants. I own shares of a massive franchise chain. There's ways for me to fulfill my need for restaurants without being in them. But what I did is I started my career selling restaurants because I knew so many restaurant owners. I go back and forth, and those are huge networks that have referred me tons of business. Why? Because when I got into real estate, I stopped at every single restaurant owner that I knew. And I told them that if your staff needs to rent a place, buy a place, sell a place. If you need to rent a place, buy a place, sell a place.
Right.
You're going to call your boy. Why? Because I love you and I come and I eat here and I send people here. I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not afraid to ask for people's support if I'm going to promise to take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a beggar. It's not beneath you. This is business. This is how we make our living. That's what I'm looking for in order to charge you up this morning. Don't be embarrassed when you pick up your phone. If I were to say, call your 5 best friends right now, tell them about you being in real estate, all of you will say no. Do you know why? Because you're embarrassed. Just like I was. I don't want to call to seem thirsty or hungry for business, but there is a way of doing it. And there's a way of asking for referrals.
Mm-hmm.
And that is as simple as, may I please see Sabina? Sabina, hi, it's Simeon, your best friend. I'm doing this new thing right now where I'm expanding my business to be able to service realtors and in all my network from outside the city. You live in New York. Can you please keep in mind that anytime you ever hear of somebody looking for something in Ontario, that you call me? Specifically, if it's in Toronto, obviously I'll service them. But if it's outside of Toronto, my team will. That is the phone call.
Click. I'm with you.
I
It's not
didn't
that
beg
hard.
for
I know.
anything. And of
Yeah.
course, you're going to talk about other things on the call, but that's not a difficult call.
Yeah.
People make it awkward. They psych themselves out. How will I sound? Will I sound stupid? Will I sound desperate? Will I sound, stop it. Make your calls. Start developing your reputation as somebody who is not afraid to ask for the business.
That's right.
As somebody, yes.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm interrupting only because I was going to say you should also then be talking about it publicly through your social and everything else too. Like we want to make sure, guys, that you're
100%.
touching people in as many ways as you can.
In that way, the message starts sinking in and
Right.
people are starting to remember it. They need to
Right.
hear it 1, 2, 5, 7 times before it sinks in. How many
100%.
of us have seen our neighbor's house go up with another listing agent? Nothing feels worse. You're my God darn neighbor. How could you do this to me? You feel betrayal. You feel angry. Well, when's the last time you told your neighbor what you would do and how you would love to have their business if they ever considered selling?
Yeah.
Make them betray you. But if you never said it, why do you get mad and expect something? Because I can guarantee you 99% of time, if you had told them at any given point that if they ever considered selling to talk to you first, do you think they're not going to feel bad calling somebody else?
Well, and
Maybe it's their
Simeon,
cousin. Maybe it's their cousin. And no problem. That's a fair
right.
statement. But at least they would come up to you and say, hey, we're looking to sell. My wife's cousin is an agent. We have to give that business there. If it doesn't work out, I'll give it to you. No problem.
Yeah.
But for
Well,
you to see another listing and you never said you're an agent, you never asked for the business, don't be mad at results you don't get with work you did not do.
well, and let's hope you only learn that lesson once, right? Let's hope. But
Let's
it's
hope.
also important to note that there's still incredibly high statistics that show that most people don't interview more than one agent. They go with the first one that they meet with. And that's, usually because that first agent is the cousin maybe, or it is because it is the best known and, like you said, it's the one you call. So anyway,
Well,
keep that in
there's
mind. But
also there's also the small fact that there's about 15 rebuttals and ways for you to drop seeds against the cousin as well. And a lot of people have a realtor in the family, et cetera, but just know that if the time ever comes, please at least Google my name to understand the difference.
right,
I know cousin Charlie might have got his real estate license 6 months ago, but you deserve better than that.
right,
Let's not gamble your $2.5 million home and put that in Charlie's hands.
right.
Fight for the business.
Hmm.
This is our business. We need to fight for it. We need to make a case for ourselves every time.
Yeah.
I'm
Simeon, we
sure
should
Charlie has the best intentions, but let me co-list and give him some guidance. Take it
exactly.
in. Take a piece.
Exactly. I was just going to say
And
you
Sabina,
could at
there's a
least
very good
co-list.
question in the chat. There's a
Yes,
very
I
good
was just
question
going
in
to
the
ask you
chat.
if we could get to that. So there's also I've got another question you haven't seen yet, but it's how do I make sure I actually get paid when sending an outbound referral?
So there is no 1,000,000% guarantee that somebody doesn't screw you over. Typically, how a referral works, and typically the way you're protected is you do paperwork when you make the referral. So if, for example, Sabina is my client in Toronto, and I'm sending her to a realtor in New York in the Finger Lakes, what I'll do is we're going to trade paperwork now. So I'm giving you a referral. I expect a 25%, a 35%, a 50% referral, depending on what stage Sabina is at. If
Hmm.
Sabina has already emailed me the home and I'm sending a realtor to do paperwork, like it's a deal, not a lead,
Right.
more than likely that would be a 50% referral. Do the paperwork, finalize the deal, do the thing. But normally a referral is somebody who is, Sabina is looking at, she's interested in the Finger Lakes. I'm going to have her and her husband come down. Please tour them, show them some great properties. They're working. That's a 25% referral. That's the industry standard. So I would do the paperwork, which outlines a 25% referral,
Hmm.
signed off, contact information is shared. That's how a referral is done. And this is for Joe. That's how you ensure that you get paid. Now,
Yeah.
is it possible that Sabina does a deal and then calls that realtor again and does another deal? Or Sabina doesn't do a deal and then 6 months later calls them up, does a deal? That has a lot to do with your follow-up more so than the evil other realtor. And a lot of people get this confused. And 6 months later, she called an agent and did another deal. Whose fault is that? Is it Sabina's or is it me for ignoring Sabina for a year?
Hmm.
You can't get mad for you not being good enough at follow-up, interested enough in Sabina, all the different things. Can't get mad at the other realtor. Is it the duty or is it the right thing for the other realtor to call you 6 months later and say, hey, you know that client you sent me 6 months ago? She just called me. Of course,
Right.
it's the right thing to do. Does everybody do it? I don't know. Does everybody brush their teeth in the morning and at night? Not always. I'll tell you that. So let's not look for excuses as to why other people can screw us over and be proactive in protecting our interests and our clients' interests. So,
Yeah.
Joe, 99, I have never not been paid for a referral in my 20-year career. I know people who have been burnt, very few and far between. This is a vertical worth exploring. I can tell you that 9.5 out of 10 times you will never have an issue. I've never had an issue. Just be proactive. Always follow up with the referring clients. Make sure they're getting the service that they promised you.
Hmm. Yeah.
Be on top of it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that answered Joe's question, but I had one other question that you also answered at the same time, which is what are the standard referral fees? And you've just explained the difference between 25 and 50. So that's awesome. That covers that off.
Awesome.
I th I think for today we've gone deep enough because we're now half an hour-ish in. And what I was going to just suggest to everyone is, and Simeon, please, throw your thoughts in here too, but what do you think are some of the first things that they should do next to make sure that this is part of their strategy as quickly as possible?
I mean, take a look at your social content. If you're using a content calendar, it's easy to slip in at least, I would say, minimum two posts a month on your socials, speaking about your local expertise and
Mhm.
how you are open for both. So let me give you an example of what that would look like. My
Mhm.
name is Simeon Papayelias, and this is a message for all my colleagues across the country. As you very well know, I'm a realtor in Toronto, Ontario. If you have clients that are looking for speed, personal care, and this type of home, a cottage in Muskoka, whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
please keep me in mind. I am taking on new clients right now. If you have a client looking in my area, please shoot me a DM. An email out to the industry. If you have an agent list that you've accumulated over time, or if you want to use a paid list to reach out to agents, it's the same thing. Do a
Mhm.
bomb video, write a nice email outlining your expertise. I'm a cottage expert in Muskoka. I understand that a lot of US hockey players, basketball players, etc., are always looking for homes up here. If you ever hear of anything, I'm your guy. Make it fun, make it real, make a
Mhm.
promise to deliver a specific amount of value. That's what I look for. I'm not looking for somebody to take my client. I'm looking for my client to be taken care of.
Yeah.
This person is going to represent me.
Mhm.
It's a big responsibility. We got to act like it is.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree more. I think that's a really key point and a good one to finish on. There's plenty of other stuff that you guys can be doing, but I think what Simeon has given you to start with is massive. Go back and identify your local market appeal, figure out what you should be talking about, figure out what's happening locally, what the
What kind of
trends are.
referrals you want?
Exactly. Where do you want to focus? What do you enjoy doing? All that stuff, because it should be something you obviously are passionate about. And think about it. Who are maybe this week it's just reach out to three new potential referral agents by the end of today or tomorrow or something and just get started. But
Yes.
definitely make this
And
part of your time
you can
blocking.
make it as easy, guys. If you live in a university town,
Hmm.
reach out to parents of students. Hey, if your kid's going to be attending the University of Waterloo, University of New York, think of me first.
Yeah.
Make something, make a video showcasing the university. Why would somebody trust you with their kid to find
Yes.
a lease property or buy a property?
Hmm. That's actually a really good example. I know plenty of people that are buying rental properties in the towns that their kids are at university. So their kids have somewhere to stay, but then they also have other units that they're renting out. So there's so many ways that this can go. It's not even funny. So
Just
anyway, guys,
be creative, give it some good thought. Maybe
yeah.
next week, I would love to hear some feedback if anybody implemented this or if they gave it some thought. But
Mhm.
if you're not using a content calendar, maybe we'll cover that in the next few weeks, maybe next month. How to generate an efficient and all-encompassing content calendar. We
Mhm.
have one here that my team uses that's significant and extremely detailed.
Mhm.
You may want to start with something simpler, but it depends on where you're at in your career. So
Yeah.
wherever you feel you are, let us know, and we can get you the resources you need to succeed.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's wrap it up there. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate your time today. You have the
I
best week
appreciate
ever.
you, Sabina. I will talk to you
Thank you.
soon.
Thanks, hon.
Bye,
Take care,
everyone. Have a
everybody. Have a
productive
great
week
week.
ahead.
Have an awesome week.